Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a little Big East After Dark here on the Big East Reborn Challenge. Um, Tonight's episode, as promised, we're going to feature a little history lesson. I don't know how you can summarize the history of a league as prestigious as the Big East in just five minutes or so, but I'm going to try to do it. But before we get into that, let's just take a quick look. Not much to update when you have the funds and the times that we do on the recruiting trail. But we do have a few updates to share here. Starting out, as we mentioned last game, we have a total of 4 3-star players that we're trying to get, and they all were very impressed with what they saw against Buffalo last week in the rivalry game, as they all have us first now. Scroggins, the tight end from Tyrone, Pennsylvania, has us first, and he's coming to visit this week against Cincinnati. Griffin, the 3-star linebacker from Philly, has us first now ahead of Syracuse. He's coming next week when we play Rutgers. Also, the offensive lineman, Moon, from Southampton, Pennsylvania, has us first now. We are slightly ahead of Wisconsin. He'll be coming in to visit next week against Rutgers. And the quarterback, Olivier, who we don't really want, and he's very expensive, but he's probably going to be the future of our team unless we can get somebody in the portal, or he's about the best we can do as far as Pennsylvania quarterbacks. So Olivier could be our future quarterback. He still has us first, yet to receive any other offers still from Harrisburg, PA. So he's not ready to visit yet. So we have Scroggins, the big tight end from Tyrone, who I really want. He's coming in this week. And we also have a few 2-stars coming. This wide receiver, Howden from Catawissa, is visiting this week. And so is Tavares Rich, also from Catawissa. So we got a bus coming in from Catawissa, PA, 2 high school teammates, both coming to visit. And that's about it. All 14 guys on our list have us first currently, so at least we're doing something right as far as spending our money and managing our time, but only 4 of them are 3-stars. The other 9 are 2-stars, and we have one 1-star who I don't even really want, but we got to fill this roster out somehow, so he'll probably end up coming as well. So that's a brief summary on the recruiting. Not a whole lot has changed. I'm hoping to maybe get a verbal from Scroggins. That would be great. That's our goal. I'd like to see a. Thank you, chat. But you've yet to see any awesome info. We're about to get into the awesome info here in just a minute. So anyway, we want Scroggins, the tight end from Tyrone. He's our number 1 recruiting prospect that we want the most out of all. Tyrone, a beautiful town, not far from State College, PA, home to an old paper mill. Many of us are familiar with Tyrone for its scenic views and ghetto sheets. That's very difficult to get to. That's hidden deep inside the town. So I'd love to get Scroggins. Welcome in, Zach. We're about to get into our history lesson here on the Big East before we start this week's game. But we have one more thing to do before we break that all down, and that's to check out our coach abilities. We have a few points here to spend, and as I typically do, you can see I'm currently still just a D+ coach, but that'll change. Don't worry. We can spend some more points here on our recruiting abilities, and I think our next step for these 55 points, I think we're going to go for a running back upgrade, and we're going to offensive line is key, even though I'm only 1 on these defensive attributes. Still, I still think I'm going to spend this next points and get this 3rd upgrade for offensive line, because we're going to need an offensive line going forward in the challenge. So that's the update there on recruiting and a few upgrades to our coach. And now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this stream here. So, as promised, we're going to begin this stream on this screen as you take a look at this list of 12 fine establishments, the new Big East reborn. And if everyone is interested here, we'll spend about 5, maybe even 10 minutes. Hopefully it's not too long-winded on a quick history lesson here about the Big East. And to really fully understand the Big East Conference, you have to go back to where it all began in 1979. The Big East Conference was originally created as a solely basketball league by the athletic director at Providence that time, a man named Dave Gavitt. He created a conference with 7 schools that was only going to play basketball. Unlike today, college basketball was almost as popular, even or maybe even more so than college football. College football wasn't the money-making machine that it is today in the late 70s and early 80s. Wasn't nearly as popular. And basketball was almost like a 1A type sport to college football. It was almost as popular as college football. And the basketball conference of the original Big East had 7 schools. They were Providence, St. John's, Georgetown, Syracuse, Seton Hall, Boston College, and UConn. These 7 schools really were just focused on basketball. They, what's up, Jeremy? We're getting into our history lesson here on the Big East to start this out. So we're talking about the formation of the original Big East Basketball Conference and how it turned into the ultimately the rise and fall of the conference. So those 7 schools have played basketball for a few years, and they wanted to expand. And this was really the pivotal moment for the Big East. In 1982, 2 schools applied to join. They were Pittsburgh and Penn State. Pittsburgh was admitted into the Big East. Penn State, being a football powerhouse, was actually denied entry into the Big East in 1982. They needed 6 votes to join the conference and to be approved. And the mainly basketball schools in the conference, Georgetown, St. John's, and Villanova, those 3 schools voted to deny entry to the Penn State Nittany Lions, which would really shape the history of the conference and some may argue could be their ultimate downfall, not adding Penn State when they had the chance in 1982. So, and the main reason that those schools didn't let Penn State in was because they were not extremely interested in football, and Penn State historically has not been known as having a very high caliber basketball program, much to the disappointment of many of us here on this stream. So the history of Penn State basketball really affected the entire history of the Big East Conference, as they were denied by just 1 vote, falling 1 vote short to join the Big East at the time. So for 10 years, the Big East, from 1982 until 1991, just continued to play basketball only. They were a basketball-only conference. And Penn State, eventually, as we know, they would go on to join the Big Ten. And the Big East would reconsider their original stance of only playing basketball, and they would decide they wanted to try again to play football in 1991. And it created a weird dynamic within the conference, as in 1991 they added West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Miami, and Temple as football-only members, making it a very unique conference that, like in most conferences, everyone plays football, everyone plays basketball, everyone plays tennis, everyone plays volleyball, whatever. They play all the sports. But in the Big East, it wasn't so. You had a select group of schools that only played basketball and another group of schools that were football-only members, Temple being one of them at the time in 1991. And this dynamic was really different from other conferences, and it would ultimately prove to be the downfall of the conference, as we'll see here in a minute. But so you had the football and non-football members, and early on, things were going well for the Big East. You had the powerhouse team in the conference, the Miami Hurricanes, they dominated the early 90s, being ranked number one numerous times in that time frame. We all remember Miami lost the national title in the early 90s. So the Big East was close. They were very close to winning a national title in football, but they just couldn't quite get over the hump. In 1996, the Big East added Notre Dame, adding to their issues here as far as having different schools do different things. They added Notre Dame to the conference in all sports except football. Notre Dame refused to play football in the conference, but they would use the Big East for basketball and all their smaller sports. So that would have been crucial if the Big East could have actually got Notre Dame to leave their independence and play football, but they couldn't. So Notre Dame was in the conference, but they were not a football member, similar to some of the other smaller schools that we mentioned at the start of this history here. So moving along in time here, the Big East is going strong. This is really where we reached the heyday of Big East football. You had, in the late 90s and early 2000s, you had some of the best teams the Big East ever put on the field. In 2000, you had Virginia Tech. It was a powerhouse team with great NFL talent like Michael Vick, a quarterback. And again, though, however, the Big East just could not get over that hump and win the national title, as Virginia Tech lost in the 2000 national title to Florida State with Michael Vick. And then you had just another powerhouse Miami team in 2002. This was a crazy game that some of you may remember. In 2002, Miami, with Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, just a list of NFL players, they lost in the 2002 national championship to Ohio State in a very controversial game, as Miami appeared to have the national title won in overtime. They knocked down a fourth down play as Ohio State was trying to tie the game, send the game to double overtime, and Miami broke up a pass in the end zone. Their team ran out on the field. They thought Miami's national champions, and a very late flag flew in, and Ohio State was bailed out by a phantom pass interference call, sent the game to double overtime, where Ohio State would eventually beat Miami for the 2002 national championship. Again, the Big East coming up just shy of their first national title, and this would really be, they would have a few more chances in the future, but this would really be the pivotal moment for the Big East, as things would soon start to collapse following that game where Miami lost to Ohio State in the national title. So in 2003, ironic to our challenge here, we put the Big East in for the ACC. 2003 is when the ACC looks to expand. They make an offer to current Big East teams, Miami and Boston College. And Miami wasn't really sure if they wanted to go. They were still loyal to the Big East. Boston College wanted out right away. They were all over the offer to leave the Big East and go to the ACC, but Miami wasn't quite so sure. And the rest of the Big East was livid with these two teams, including Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech started a lawsuit against the ACC. They sued the ACC for whatever you'd want to call it, trying to steal teams from the Big East. And the ACC, their response to this lawsuit by Virginia Tech was to offer Virginia Tech admission into the conference. So basically, instantly, when the ACC offered Virginia Tech entrance, they dropped the lawsuit and joined the ACC with Boston College. And this is when Miami said, well, if Virginia Tech is leaving, we're going to leave too. And they paid a very small fine. They paid the Big East $1 million and left. So Miami, Boston College, and Virginia Tech all leave the Big East in 2003. And this was a huge blow to the conference, because those were basically the two best teams in the conference, Miami and Virginia Tech. They left the conference in 2003, and it really put the prestige of the Big East at risk. This was the BCS era, when the big conferences had automatic bowl bids to the four major bowl games, and the Big East was in a panic, basically, to save their BCS status. So in response, ironically, the first thing the Big East did was expel Temple. They had just lost 3 teams, and they came back and said, first thing we're going to do is expel Temple. They kicked out Temple. Sadly for the Owls, they only needed 2 votes from other members of the conference to stay in the Big East. They did not get any. Every team in the conference voted to kick Temple out. And it was because of, they claimed, low attendance, and also Temple had never won more than 2 conference games in the 10 years they played football for the conference. They were basically the worst team in the conference. And so they were expelled from the Big East. So at a time when the conference is losing teams, they're also kicking out some of their original football members, Temple being one of them. So they kick Temple out, and they make a move to add some new teams. So at this point in time, UConn creates a football program. They were originally a basketball member, and they create a football program to join the conference. And the Big East also goes and adds some more local teams. They add Louisville, South Florida, and Cincinnati to the conference. And that stabilizes things for a while, as you have a lot more parity in the league. It's still probably a formidable league with decent quality of teams, not what it was with Miami and Virginia Tech, but still not a terrible league, as they were able to survive. And this is where you really see the new emergence in the early 2000s of West Virginia. West Virginia becomes the primary market and the best team in the conference, going 11-1 in 2005. And here you have the Big East, probably their last chance at getting that coveted national title in 2007. A crazy year, 2007. Numerous teams were ranked in the top 5, and the number 2 team in the country lost that year like 6 times. You had South Florida, a Big East team, was ranked number 2 for 1 week before losing. You had Louisville, a Big East team, was ranked number 2 for a week, and they lost. West Virginia had an early loss in the season to South Florida, but still managed to win the rest of their games and climb back to the number 2 ranking prior to the last game of the season in 2007. West Virginia was 10-1 at the time, going into their last game of the season, ranked number 2 in the country. And this is the infamous 13-9 loss to Pittsburgh, a team that was 5-6 in a game where Pat White, their star quarterback, was injured. And Pitt managed to shock West Virginia, costing them a shot at the national title. Had West Virginia won that game, they would have made the national championship in 2007. So that was really the last time the Big East had any hope for a national championship, as West Virginia squandered their best shot. West Virginia has been close to national championships in the past, but they've never won a national title, and that was probably the best chance they'll ever have, because they've never been that close again. And so then in history, we're into about 2008. We're wrapping this up. I know I'm going a little long, but sorry for that, but we're wrapping it up here. So then comes the emergence of Cincinnati, which I'm not going to cover now because that's our opponent here. I have some things to say about Cincinnati, but we'll save those for the game. So Cincinnati comes to the forefront of the conference. The Big East continues to struggle in BCS bowl games. And then comes really the kiss of death here for the Big East. The ACC comes in to poach more programs in 2011. They take Pitt and Syracuse, leaving the conference for the ACC. And at this point, West Virginia is kind of left without a home. They jump to the Big 12 just to get out of the Big East. Basically a terrible fit for West Virginia. As you look today, West Virginia's closest opponent in the Big 12 is Iowa State, which is like, and we all know, being from Western PA, Morgantown, think how far it is to Iowa State. That's their closest game, is Ames, Iowa. So not really a good fit for West Virginia, but they were just so desperate to get out of this new dilapidated Big East that was in free fall. So Pitt, Syracuse, West Virginia leave in 2011. Ironically, in 2012, the final season of the Big East, the conference offers Temple to come back. So Temple actually does go back to the Big East for one more season. So they were there at the start, and Temple does return at the finish as they come back for 2012. And the Big East was really grasping at straws. They even had this. This is where it gets really weird here in 2013, as the conference is in its final days of existence. The Big East makes one final Hail Mary play to stay alive. They offer teams like TCU, who actually accepted an offer to join the Big East, SMU, Boise State, Central Florida, and South Florida all had real serious considerations of joining the Big East and keeping it alive. But when Louisville left then, and Rutgers also leaves to go to the Big Ten, TCU and SMU both decided the Big East is just not going anywhere. We're not gonna follow through with our promise to join the new Big East. And at that point, the conference is basically dead. And you have what became known as the Catholic Seven schools: DePaul, Georgetown, Marquette, Providence, Seton Hall, St. John's, Villanova. The original basketball schools, it's all coming full circle now here at the end of the life of Big East football. The original basketball schools sue the Big East. They take the name Big East for their basketball-only conference, which still exists today. There is still a basketball Big East with those original basketball schools. And at that point in 2013, Big East football ceases to exist. So, a long story short, I know that was a lot of information to cover there, but that's basically all I wanted to say about the Big East. I really wanted to honor the tradition of this conference here, since we're doing a series about it. And just so much to think about what would have happened had the Big East accepted Penn State in the early 80s. How could history have been different if they would have put more of a focus on football? So, yeah. So that's pretty much it. I hope everyone enjoyed that little history lesson. And as you can see, we have kept teams from every era of Big East football. Any team that ever played football in the Big East, they're in here. So you have a little bit of a mixture of two eras of Big East football. So that's the story there on the Big East. So, all right, enough of that. Let's focus on where we're at in our new edition of the Big East. Today's matchup is against the Bearcats of Cincinnati. It's our conference opener. As you can see, Cincinnati has already played 2 conference games, and they're currently 0-3. I was expecting Cincinnati to be a pretty difficult opponent, but they're off to a rough start here. So let's check them out. We're back home. We're back home to Lincoln Financial today. Whew. I'm worn out. I'm worn out after all that Big East history right there. It was a lot to cover in a short time. I'm not going to let Cincinnati wear all red jerseys. I like those with the black. And we can't forget to wear our black spikes. The trademark move here. So let's regroup here. We are 2-1. This is our conference opener in the Big East. And Cincinnati is 0-3, and they've lost 2 Big East games already. Cincinnati, another thing I'm going to try to start doing here is talking more about the teams we're playing, give a little bit more real-life insight on the team. So Cincinnati is led by head coach Scott Satterfield. He has been the head coach there since 2022 when he resigned from Louisville and came over to join the Bearcats prior to Louisville's bowl game that year. This is not really a rivalry series, but a series that has been played 23 times. And something we don't get to say too often, Temple actually leads the all-time series with Cincinnati by a score of 13-10. So this is a team that Temple has had success against. And we look to have more here today, as prior to seeing the rankings and stuff, I didn't really expect to have much hope. There's the man Peter Clark from London. Not to get too distracted, but How can you not when you see him on the screen? But yeah, Cincinnati actually trails the all-time series with Temple. Temple leads the series 13-10. So the Owls will start out from the 20-yard line. They'll start with a run to Smith for 4. And it's a lot to keep track of trying to play call and remember Big East history. But Cincinnati was a team that won 4 Big East titles in 2008, 2009, and also in 11 and 12, 2011 and 2012. As we come up here on 3rd and 6. We don't want to start the game with a 3 and out, as we force one in there to Cush, and he loses a yard actually, and that's not a great start for our offense. As you can see, a little bit more of a realistic crowd here today at Lincoln Financial Field. Finally, a lot of empty seats, still more than a real Saturday would see here, but you can see a lot of empty seats up there in the upper deck, the green seats, since this is not our own stadium. We share this stadium with the Philadelphia Eagles. Getting back to like what we were saying about the Big East struggling in bowl games, Cincinnati in 2008, they really did have some great teams. They made some prestigious bowl games. In 2008 they made the Orange Bowl, but they lost, ironically, to Virginia Tech, who was now in the ACC. The following year, they followed up that Orange Bowl appearance with a trip to the Sugar Bowl, where again they lost, this time to Florida. As they have 2nd and 3 here. The sweep play, and that's stopped for a loss of 1 yard, 3rd and 4. More recently, Cincinnati, as a member of the American Conference, which is the conference that was formed by all the leftover teams from the Big East that didn't have anywhere to go, as that is dropped, and we'll get a 3 and out of our own, get the ball back. Cincinnati actually made the college football playoff in 2021, and that was when the 4 team was thank you, I appreciate that, Jeremy. Cincinnati actually made the college football playoff in 2021, which is pretty impressive. That's back when the playoff was only 4 teams, and they got destroyed by Alabama, but they were still in the college football playoff. But we have more history about Cincinnati. We'll get into some of that later. We got to focus, put a drive together here. Shepard sends the man in motion. He looks for Freeman for 1 yard. Not a great start here. It's pretty tough to multitask. But I'm still new at this streaming, so I'm trying to talk about these things. Keep things interesting here as it's 3rd and 9 for Shepard. We've yet to get really anything. He looks for the big tight end Clark. He's short. I think we're going to challenge that. I think he might have got it. This worked for us last time. Let's challenge the spot of the ball there. I think he might have had it, but I don't know. Not really. That replay isn't extremely helpful as you can't see the first down line. Let's see what they say here. They do give us the first down. All right. So again, we're 2 for 2 on those challenging the spot of the ball, as Clark picks up the big first down, and finally Temple has a little bit of momentum on offense here, as it's our star player from London, England, Peter Clark. We run a sweep to Bermudez for 2. everything is so difficult for this offense. I hope you guys... I'm not very good at the game either, but I really make it look hard with these teams. Especially with an offense like this. You don't really have many options. No running backs, no one to throw the ball to except for Clark. And Shepard can hardly get it there even when he has the guys to throw to. As he's back to pass here, he looks for Clark, who catches it, breaks a tackle, but turns right back into the other guy. And it'll make it set up a manageable third down here. As this is shaping up to be another low-scoring affair, which is good for us. 3rd and 3. We run it, and we have the first down with Smith. So we're moving along here slowly, but we're making up ground. As we're out to the 41. Shepard's back to pass. He dumps it off to Smith, who just decides to go nowhere and lose 8 yards. That might have been the worst screenplay in the history of the game. As he goes backwards 8 yards on the screen. It's 2nd and 18. We look for Clark again. His 3rd catch. I just cannot believe that screenplay lost us 8 yards, so we're going to try a similar variation on that play again here. As we throw it out, it's almost intercepted by the lineman. And it's 4th and 9. I think we're going to be forced to punt this one away. 4th and 9. As Atten comes on for the 2nd time today. Try to pin him deep. He gets it away. Looks like a pretty good punt as it takes a great bounce right along the sidelines. And Cincinnati will be backed up. They'll start this drive from their own 7. So these are not the Cincinnati teams of the past with Brian Kelly at coach or other great coaches they've had like Luke Fickell, who's now at Wisconsin. They've had some good coaches. As he's the quarterback, whose name I don't know yet. Let's look real quick, just what their quarterback's name is. British Hammer, that's right. He's really the only one doing anything so far. Cincinnati's quarterback's name is French. So this is like the French and Indian War here. French the 4th. As French the 4th comes out in the gun. On 2nd and 10 from the 22. Missed a tackle, but we wrap him up. Here's a trivia question for the chat if anyone wants to try to answer. Can anyone name a current NFL player who is an alumni from Cincinnati? I can think of 2. If anyone has any insight on that. As we stop him on 3rd down. And the decision to punt was a smart one. I can think of 2 players in the NFL from Cincinnati. As Mason is hopefully healthier today, he receives the punt. He's only out to the 19-yard line. So, not much action here. You think Maria would know, as she is the fantasy football defending champion. Not much going on here in this first quarter. There you go. Jeremy's on it. Kelsey. Kelsey is a Cincinnati Bearcat. That is one of the 2 I was thinking. Also his brother, too. So actually I think there's 3 that I can think of. But yeah, that's the big one. Travis Kelsey went to Cincinnati. A big tight end, but he has nothing on our big tight end. Peter Clark, who is open right there, and we find him again, his 4th catch of the game. The other one I was thinking of, first-round draft pick, Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner went to Cincinnati as well. as we have the first down out to the 36. So this will be the last play of a scoreless first quarter from Philly, as Smith has a nice carry out to the 47. So thrilling scenes here today as our Big East opener heads to the second quarter, knotted at 0. 27 yards for the Bearcats as we've controlled the time of possession as we usually do, because we really move slowly, basically is what it comes down to. We take our time trying to find plays, and we run an extremely conservative offense. But at some point we're going to break a big play here, as that's not going to do it. That's 1 yard. We see Hills is injured with a bruised shoulder.
Balance is good. Now listen, if the run game isn't good, then you got to pass the football a little bit more. But sometimes you got to keep them honest, take them chunk by chunk.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9.
So I think I pretty much covered all of the history I had for today, and we can really focus on this game now. As Shepard is back to pass and no one's open. I tried to wait as long as I could to find somebody, but we have to just throw it away. And it's 3rd down again. We all know what that means. We're going to be looking for Clark. He is covered. We force it in there to him. We can't make the grab on that. We're lucky that wasn't picked off, as we've already thrown the ball 12 times, and we only have 33 yards to show for it. And on 4th and 9, we're going to punt it again. Racking up stats for Atten, his 3rd punt of the game. As he looks to pin him deep again, can we get a good bounce? It's going to bounce at the 10 and just missed the pylon. This one goes into the end zone for a touchback. So French will lead this Cincinnati offense back on the field. Their 3rd possession. 5 punts in this game, as the teams have gone back and forth with punts. This is a good run, as we should have had him tackled in the backfield, but instead he gains 7 yards. Bring up 2nd and 3. It's about the longest I've ever played into a game without somebody finding some way to get some points. As it's another 3rd down for Cincinnati. They're back to pass. He's under pressure. He gets it away. And they have the first down. To Gibson. 8 yards. French comes out in the pistol. He has a man in motion from right to left. They've got a guy out there, but he dropped it. Number 87, that's not Travis Kelce, thankfully, as Grover drops the ball. It's a real test of wills right now for these defenses. We will break first. French is back to pass again. He had all kind of time as he finds his man. We had him covered for a while, but we just couldn't get any pressure. And eventually, you can't let French stand back here all day. Eventually, he'll make you pay for it, as he does there. And the Bearcats are on the move down to the 29-yard line. Here's a big run. And just when it looked like no one was going to score all day, Cincinnati is down to the 11-yard line. French points out to his guys out there, left and right. He hands it off up the middle. Way too much. He's in for the touchdown. So Cincinnati finally breaks this scoreless deadlock, as we've had the ball 3 times, 3 punts. And the Bearcats finally get on the board here. 7-0. Well, you can't win a game of college football without scoring. We knew that going into this game, that we were going to have to at least have a few points to win. So we're okay. We're going to need to score at some point. That's right. We're going to need to get something. But I just don't know who to look for. Can't throw it to Clark every play. Shepard has been throwing the ball a lot, but he's not been getting much yards. As this time it's Freeman. Pretty nice gain there of 14.
And when you run these drag routes, it's super important that your quarterback can really
See if we can get some points on the board here before halftime. Shepard's in the gun. This time it's Mason. Oh, he's got a hole there. That's a nice run. Another first down. So 2 first downs to start the drive here. And we're almost into Cincinnati territory for the first time as we're at the 49-yard line. Shepard rolling out. He's going to force one to Clark. Clark down the sideline. He's pointing out guys. What a catch by Clark as he's up to 73 yards on the day. Shepard looked like he was dead to rights on the sideline. He lobs one up to Clark. Look at those dreads. Look at those. The white man from England with the black dreads comes up with a huge catch and run after catch to get us down to the 16-yard line. And we'll run it here for no gain. We actually lost a yard. Where is Clark? We need him more than ever. We just got to keep throwing it to Clark, I guess. That's our only option. Shame to say that he is a senior, so Temple fans should enjoy these moments while they have them with Clark, because he will be missed. As we look for him again, there he is, Clark, the 5, touchdown. God save the Queen. Clark is in. His 6th catch of the ball game. He has been our only offense all season, and he finds the end zone here. So great answer, namely from Clark, as he has just put the team on his back, and we're down the field to tie the game, 7-7. They're going to have to retire that jersey here at Lincoln Financial Field in the rafters alongside a Union Jack, as Clark is quite possibly the best college football player to ever come from the British Isles. I can't think of another. Second and 10 for Cincinnati. Throw is complete. He comes back to the ball. He's actually going to be an inch short, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. So, at least prior to the season, when I looked at the schedule, I didn't expect to have much hope in any of these Big East Conference games. But we're in a ball game here today, our Big East opener with Cincinnati. We're in this game as they're going to keep it with French. He'll slide down for the first, and they're going to go quickly. French is back to pass. Takes his outlet guy, the running back there, for 6. They continue in the no huddle. French is under pressure. He throws one down there. Oh, he held on to it. We had 2 guys there. As French forced that one in there, but he found his guy. This is not what we wanted after finally scoring, to just let them come right down the field and score again, as this game has turned into a shootout now. Cincinnati running the clock down for some reason. 2nd and inches. They run it straight up the middle, and it's 1st and goal. I guess I'll call timeout. Not that we can really do anything in 40 seconds, but we'll call it just in case something happens. 1st and goal for the Bearcats. French is back to pass. We had a guy back here, but we weren't able to get to him in time, and he's got it down to the 1-yard line on the throw. 2nd and goal from the 1 for Cincinnati. He goes straight up the gut, and he's stopped again at the 1. Good pressure from the Owls there. And it's 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line.
Still have one in their pocket for what's left in this first half.
Again, French is going to keep it, and he's stuffed in the backfield for a 3-yard loss.
Defense has forced him into fourth down. Wanting to stop
And Cincinnati's going to be held to a field goal. So they had 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line, and we managed to hold them to a field goal attempt here, which they do get. But all in all, that you'd have to consider that a win for the Temple defense as they come up with a goal line stand and hold Cincinnati to 3 here.
Touchdown, and you want to be aggressive, but man, right down the middle, that obviously gives me some confidence down the road that I can
With
trust this
29 seconds to go, if we're ever going to have a return here, Hardy, now would be the time. Oh, he's weaving around there. He just not athletic enough. With other teams and better players, I saw a lane there. I've been known to take a kickoff back from time to time, but Hardy just doesn't have the athleticism to make it happen on that play. As we'll just run the ball here. And we'll try to get up there in, I don't know, 17 seconds. I don't know if it's worth trying to throw it. We'll see if Clark can get open real quick, but there's really no reason to even run this play. We'll throw one to Clark just for fun, just to pad his stats a little bit. But we're going to run out of time here. We'll run it again, and that does it for the first half. So a tight game. Cincinnati ahead 10-7 here at halftime. There's Clark and myself, the only 2 people doing anything, breaking it down on their way to the locker room.
Fellas, we welcome you into our palatial Orlando studios for the Week 3 edition of the EA Sports College
Arkansas
Football.
somehow beat Georgia.
We kick things off with Arkansas taking on the number 3 team.
That's enough of that, as we have to refocus here, get this defense, get an early stand as we will kick the ball away to start the 3rd quarter, trailing Cincinnati 10-7, our Big East opener. They'll take a knee, and they'll bring it out to the 25. French in the pistol. He hands it up the middle. Oh, I thought I was going to have him there, but somehow he managed to get outside. Ordonez had him lined up, but he read the blocks well and got outside as French is back to pass. This time, number 87 does catch the ball, and the Bearcats are quickly out to midfield. We're definitely not built to come back from, well, actually, I shouldn't say that because we did come back from an 11-point deficit in the 4th quarter last week at Buffalo. So I'll revise that statement to say never count this Owls team out. Even if they are down double digits, you can never count them out because they have been known for late game heroics. As we missed the tackle there, that was really bad. We had that play blown up, but our guy just bounces off of number 9, and it turns into a big gain for Cincinnati as we had that play completely blown up. French sends the guy in motion. Oh, I thought that was a play action as I was dialed in to hit French, but he had actually given the ball up. 2nd and 8. Again, he gives it off up the middle for no gain. And it's 3rd and 8. Thank you all for tuning in. We're going to try to deliver a Big East victory here. As again, we missed tackles, but there's enough guys over there. We do get them short. And Cincinnati will be held to another field goal, which is basically automatic for these guys unless I can somehow block it, which I can't, and it's good. But they held them to 2 field goals their last 2 possessions. It's been a while since we had the ball, but the last time we had the ball, we did finally score. Other than that drive at the end of the 2nd quarter where we only had a few seconds to work with. There you can see, as we mentioned at the top of the video, our recruits, Scroggins, the man from Tyrone, potentially a replacement for Clark. That's our number 1 recruiting target is Big Scroggins, the tight end from Tyrone. Shepard Back to pass. Nobody's open, but this time he's going to use those legs and finally scramble. Something I know he can do. It's just his first attempt of the game. But it does go for a first down. It's a shame we can't run the ball because I really rely on plays like that getting more than 2 yards. But Smith, 10 carries today and only 33 yards. Really struggling to get anything going. Shepard calls the audible. He looks for the other tight end, Cush. And he has the first down. Owls are out near midfield as they can't give up on this run game. Smith again for 3. That'll bring up 2nd and 7. Where is Clark? There he is. That's basically the first thing I look for on every play now. Where is Clark? And I kind of just fix on him. Can he get open? I'm actually glad that play was blown up because I forced the ball in there to Clark, but he was not open. Probably would have been picked had it been a better throw. So it's 3rd and 7 for the Owls. Shepard looks for Freeman, but Clark got confused on the play there and actually ran into his own guy. Ran into Freeman. That probably would have been a first down. A rare mistake from Clark, and this is a really risky call here at this stage of the ball game from the 48-yard line on 4th and 7. This wouldn't fly in the online league, but we are going to go for it here. Shepard in the gun. He's back to pass. Can Freeman get out there? He can, and we have him. A huge 4th down conversion from our own side of the field as we decide to go for it. And we get it out to Freeman for the first down. So mark that play. 2 minutes and 55 seconds to go in the third quarter, as that could be a game changer as we convert the 4th down, and then it's another big run from Mason down to the 16-yard line.
And the Owls pounded the rock to move the sticks. Now back to work.
1st and 10.
They've marched to the red zone, and here they go.
Nobody open there. We're just going to throw it away. Something you see a lot out of Shepard, just tossing the ball out of bounds. But that's good. I mean, I'd rather him just throw it away than, I don't even say the alternative. As he's back to pass again. Can he get through there? Oh, I thought I had a lane to scramble, but he's just too slow. He can't get through there. And it's 3rd and 8. Clark, where are you? No one is there. Again, we just throw it out of bounds. Basically, that's what we do. We just drop back, throw it out of bounds. So this time we are going to take our 3 points on 4th and 8 from the 14-yard line. Try to cut this to a 3-point game. And the kick is good. So we answer there, field goal, with a field goal of our own. Scott Satterfield is happy about it, their coach. But that was a decent drive. Would have been nice to capitalize and take the lead there, but on 4th and 8 from the 14-yard line, we didn't have much choice there. Even though we did go for it on 4th and 7 from our own 40-yard line, we still just decided to take the field goal there. And rely on our defense as Cincinnati comes out with the run play. Gould makes the stop. French is back to pass. If we ever force a turnover, French isn't that good. Love to see him throw an interception or fumble or something. As it's 3rd and 1. Defense looks to get off the field. I think they're probably going to run it with number 13 here. And they do. We were ready for it. But he only needed a yard, so we weren't able to get to him in time. They have the first down. Again, it's number 13. Zion Johnson, he's up over 100 yards.
They can really be aggressive after that last play. It's 2nd and 3.
Al Nation getting behind this defense as that play is, oh, I wish he would have caught that. He would have lost 4 or 5 yards, but we hit him so hard, he just couldn't even hold on to the ball. And that brings up another 3rd down here from the 45 for Cincinnati. French tricked us on that play, draw play to Zion Johnson.
The Bearcats come to the line with a fresh set of downs.
I must admit I wasn't ready for the run on that play as it was a draw. And come back with it again for 3 yards. Another low-scoring battle here as we near the end of the 3rd quarter. 13-10 Cincinnati. This time they fake the draw. Pressure coming, and he goes down. Colin Dinkins with the sack. As the chat is loving this Owls defensive effort here today. Can we get a stop? 3rd and 15. French in the pistol, and he just whips it off of his guy's head there right next to him. Don't know why he just decided to whip it at that guy right next to him, but he does. He drills it at him, and he drops it, and we get the stop. So that's a nice punt, though, as it goes out of bounds at the 8. Our entire offense is tired or hurt. And we're backed up, but we only trail by a field goal here as we near the end of the 3rd quarter. If we ever break a nice run, it won't be that play. This is risky territory for our offense. We hate to ruin all of the work from our defense. As we don't know what to run here, we're just going to let the 3rd quarter run out. So at the end of the 3rd quarter, Temple trailing Big East foe Cincinnati 13-10. It is time to lock in. You can see the stats there. Another lackluster day from our offense as we only have about 200 yards. Our average has been about 275 yards a game. But the defense has kept us in this one.
So the final period starts with a 2nd down play. Making side adjustments here.
As we need a drive here. Shepard in the gun. You can see Clark there, highlighted by the star, as he is the star of this team. Can he get open? He makes a move. He has it. There goes Clark. He's at the 30. He's out to the 35, and he just runs over a man, but he stepped out of bounds. Another huge play from the tight end, Clark.
Come on, defense. What are we doing? I mean, you can't miss this guy.
Shepard let that one go from his own end zone, and we're out to the 37. Can we ever get a run? Not this time, as Smith is stopped at the line. We've said it a million times, but basically our only offense is throwing the ball to Clark. So we're going to try to do that again here as Shepard finds Clark for 7. Clark is up to 131 yards receiving on 9 catches today. Another smashing effort from the Brit as we run it here on 3rd down. And it's a first down for Smith into Cincinnati territory at the 44-yard line. Shepard trying to calm down this crowd that is in hysterics right now. This time he throws it to Chase, a receiver who hasn't seen much action, but he comes up with a big catch there. And it's another first down as we're nearing the edge of field goal range for Harden. It's a run with Smith. Again, he has nowhere to go.
bunch of yards on this drive and a bunch of plays, but all that matters is keeping them off the scoreboard.
2nd and 10. Shepard's back to pass. He gets rid of it. Man, that was ugly. The ball just popped up in the air. We're lucky that wasn't a turnover. We're still alive on this drive, but that could have been ended badly as Shepard just did not even feel the pressure and just he tried to get it to Clark, but we're running out of time here. I'm not really sure what to run. We're going to try this play again. I'm not really sure why, but will it ever work? We get it out there to Smith. Can he get going? He can't quite get it going in time. He did catch the ball and make it a more manageable field goal here as Harden is on to try a 42-yarder and tie this game up. Oh, that's going to be close. Is it going to sneak in there? It does. I thought I missed it. But we managed to sneak it in there. Those extra yards on that screen turned out to be crucial as we don't get the first down. But we do manage to drive all the way from our own 8-yard line down for another field goal. So it was turned out to be a wise decision to take that field goal last time we had the ball. As this game is tied now, 13-all, with 3:46 to go in the fourth quarter. Here comes French and the Cincinnati offense. Do the Owls have another stop in them? French is back to pass. Nobody open. He's going to lob one up there. Oh, we had two guys there, and then it looked like they almost caught it. It falls innocently to the turf for an incomplete pass, but that was a risky throw by French. I thought he was going to run. He had a lot of space to run, but he decided to just lob one up, and it was almost picked off and then almost caught. But all in all, it's going to bring up 2nd down. They find the tight end, number 87, for 6 yards. And quickly, it's a 3rd down here for Cincinnati from their own 31. French with the empty backfield. Stewart's going to stay home. And they get it to number 8. And I miss him twice. And I miss him a 3rd time. Unbelievable. 3 missed tackles. Oh, just an awful play. As on 3rd down, they break the big one that we've avoided all day. So right after tying the game up 3 plays later, Cincinnati, when it looked like their drive was about to stall out quickly, instead they throw a 75-yard touchdown pass. As he was putting the moves on. I just could not get a hand on him. 3 guys dove around him. No one was able to wrap him up. And now we're going to need a miracle drive. As you can see, our entire offense, including Clark, I don't know what kind of conditioning program we're running here at Temple, but everyone is tired. We don't have very good facilities. We don't have enough money to buy any of the perks. You can buy stuff I don't know what you'd say, like an oxygen tank or some things to make the guys not get so tired. As Shepard keeps the ball for a 1st down, there are things you can invest in with your recruiting money to alleviate some of the effects of that wear and tear, but we can't afford it here at Temple. We're basically bankrupt. We can barely afford to put the team out there. As Shepard runs again, he takes a big hit, but he has another 1st down. It's going to be a long time till we can afford nice luxuries like oxygen masks for our players or ice baths or things of that nature. We can barely afford the jerseys and the pads at this point in time. As it's 2nd and 6. Oh, why did Clark stop? Clark had all kind of space out to his left. I tried to hit him in stride. Instead, he stopped there. Miscommunication between him and Shepard. as he easily would have had the first down if he just kept going, but we do give it to Smith for the first down. This is really getting interesting now as we're on the move trying to tie this game up. First and 10 from the 39. A field goal won't cut it for Shepard and the offense. Shepard forces it to Clark. He loses a yard, but I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to win this one or not. Any game we win is a miracle, as you can see. I'm just happy that we're in it. So let's see what we can do here. 2nd and 11. We're behind the chains at the 2-minute warning. We send Chase in motion. Shepard's back to pass. He's got his man Clark again. Clark is on the run down to the 23-yard line. Over 200 yards passing now for Shepard, as it's been Clark all day. Minute 51 remaining. 1st and 10 for the Owls. The give is to Mason. He has 6. No time to waste here. But I'm going to waste it anyway because I don't know what type of play to run. 2nd and 4. Shepard calls the hot route for Clark. They have Clark again, and he's got it. Touchdown, Clark. His 2nd touchdown of the day. This performance will go down in the history books of Temple football as Clark has just put the team on his back. Look at those dreadlocks. He ties the game up. What an answer from Temple. Clark's 2nd touchdown of the day. A season-high 13 catches for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns as Clark has tied this game. If we can make this extra point, everyone remain calm. We still got to make this extra point. The extra point is true, and it's 20-20 with 1:24 to go. I agree with everyone in the chat. Clark is really my hero, basically. Another amazing game. Who says Europeans can't play American football? They clearly can. But we're going to need one more stop from our defense here to force overtime. It's a pitch. We miss him again, but luckily we had 2 guys there as they only get 3. As we said against Buffalo in this situation, we can't let them get anywhere near that weird square T on the midfield logo because if they get out there, they will make the field goal as that is complete. We're not trying to win championships yet, Zach. We're just trying to win this game here. As it's another run from number 6, and they're already basically in field goal range. So we don't get the luck of last night's game, or 2 nights ago against Buffalo, with the turnover, as Cincinnati is already flirting with field goal range here. We need something to go our way. They complete this pass to the 40, and they call their 2nd timeout from the 43. Excuse me. It's exciting stuff here. French is going to keep it. He's hit, but he has the first down. It's at the 37. Clock continues to run. I don't know, chat. This is not looking good. This is looking like this is going to be a walk-off for Cincinnati as they run up the middle. Oh, no. And they're down to the 24-yard line. So, after that dramatic drive to tie the game, we're really in trouble now. Cincinnati is clearly in field goal range. Only 30 seconds to go. They're just going to run the ball here. And we're just going to let them go. We're actually just going to let them go because they're going to score anyway. So we're going to deploy Indiana strategy here against Penn State and just let that guy go. We only have 28 seconds left. They were in field goal range at 10-yard line. Basically, the game is lost either way, but at least we can try to maybe do something. They were never going to miss a field goal there from the 10-yard line, so that was kind of just a desperation move. I know that kind of sucked to have to let them score there, but they were going to win the game anyway. So
an efficient drive. 7 plays, 75 yards.
So 28 seconds for the Owls.
On a terrific 24-yard
And Mason,
touchdown. On the move.
great magic on the return. No, he can't.
Just able to get out to the 8-yard
And
line on the return before he stopped.
not much in the playbook for this situation. 25 seconds to go.
Okay, one possession game.
2 timeouts.
Time to work with, but you have to make up some ground quickly, David. Gotta be
We got to go the length of the field in just 25 seconds as we throw it underneath the Clark. He gets the first down. We got to use 1 timeout. He's up to 178 yards, but that's not going to be enough. It's really a shame that this amazing effort by Clark is looking like it's going to still not be enough for the Owls to win this conference opener, as Shepard is back to pass. He's going to lob one deep down. Look at that throw. Way underthrown. Chase tries to come back to it. And now we're down to 12 seconds. As Clark really can't throw it that far. Shepard can't throw it that far. We throw it to Clark. And that was pretty bad, but there really wasn't much we could do there. As we're down to 7 seconds, and we're just going to have to try to lob one up and hope for a miracle here. There's Clark running. He'll run down the middle of the field. Shepard's back to pass. He lobs one. Look at that throw. It's going to only make it to about the 20-yard line, and it falls incomplete. 30-yard line. So a tough loss here tonight for Temple. They fall to Cincinnati in the Big East opener, 27-20. A great effort from Clark. It was a decent effort from the defense until we really needed them most at the end of the game. They couldn't get the stop after we drove down there and tied the game up. And we drop our Big East opener.
They need a little bit better effort next week. They're going to need better preparation this week in practice. There's no doubt this team has a lot of talent, but we just need...
Hope everyone enjoyed that game. I had fun playing that one. It was definitely entertaining despite the final outcome. As we take a look at the stats, we ended up getting up to 384 yards. How many yards did Clark have, though? The real story of the day. Clark, he had like 20 catches. What were the final stats on Clark today? Peter Clark, the London International, 15 catches for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. A great game from Clark, but it just wasn't enough as we fall to Cincinnati. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this stream. We covered a lot tonight with the history of the Big East, and we lost our Big East opener. A little update on Wisconsin. There's been more drama in the online league as UCLA, I think it was, has been accused of cheating, and the league is back on hold. Try not to let that get to me. I'm not really like a prime member of the league or anything. I'm just lowly Wisconsin struggling to beat ECU in the computer. So I don't really say a whole lot. I just kind of read along with the drama of the league and see what's happening. Eventually, we will be playing a real person here. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. This will be on YouTube here in just a few minutes. Once I finish the stream, I'll add it up on YouTube so everyone can enjoy it for years to come. I was thinking about someday when my son grows up, he might be watching these videos on YouTube and playing this game. So, yeah, it will be on YouTube in just a few minutes here. It takes about 20 minutes for me to upload it to YouTube. But, yeah, anyway, in conclusion here, we will be playing Oklahoma State in the Wisconsin Challenge sometime whenever they decide to advance the league. So much drama in the league with people cheating and quitting, and it's hard to keep track of, but don't worry, that'll be interesting when we finally play a real person in Wisconsin. But that's not nearly as important as this. And we'll see who do we play next. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, our next match another Big East opponent. As we're really in the thick of Big East play now, we'll take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. So as you can see, it's just one powerhouse program after another with Cincinnati, Rutgers, South Florida, UConn. The best team we play probably is Louisville. They're ranked number 9 in the country in a few weeks. But yeah, next up we'll take on Greg Schiano and the Scarlet Knights. They'll come to town. And just for fun, we'll do one last thing here. Let's advance to next week and see if Scroggins had a good time today. He came all the way from Tyrone to Philadelphia to witness that loss. Let's see if that was enough for him to want a verbal to Temple. I'm thinking it might have been. I think we really put on a good show for him. I think he's going to want to come. So let's see. Are we going to get the verbal from Scroggins? No, we don't. We don't. Unfortunately, we don't get the verbal from Scroggins. Let's see how he's looking real quick, and that's how we'll close it. Oh, as Peter Clark, ACC Player of the Week. Anything else? Peter Clark, also the National Offensive Player of the Week. Is Peter Clark slowly getting the national recognition? Is he going to be in the conversation for some hardware or awards later in the season? That's a story to keep track of, as his performance was really well received around the country as he's National Offensive Player of the Week. Peter Clark. And let's see, what's up with Scroggins, his potential replacement. He's close to verbaling, as you can see there. He's getting close. So we'll get more into this recruiting to start the next video. But I was hoping to maybe get a verbal from Scroggins, as he did come all the way from Tyrone to watch that game. But he's not convinced yet. So we'll keep working on him, and we'll keep working on this team. So I'm signing off now. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and we'll see you again soon. Good night.